Why are people incarcerated just because they can't make bail?
Somebody broke into the house of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Before we get to that story, though, I'd like to show you video of Karen Bass a year ago as she was talking about emptying out the prisons in LA.
I mean, it's really an embarrassment on our country that we have more people locked up in the United States than any place in the world. And if you look at the many people who are locked up, they're locked up because they're poor, because they can't afford bail or they can't afford proper legal defense. If you dealt with the poverty aspect, you could probably reduce the population by 50% with that alone. You know, why are people incarcerated just because they can't make bail?
All right, so her goal was to reduce the prison population by 50%. She let out all sorts of criminals in LA, and then this, it's a beauty, guys, from the New York Post. A suspect was arrested after breaking into Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's home early Sunday morning. The LAPD said at about 6:40 a.m., an individual smashed a window to break into Getty House while people were inside. Getty House is Bass's official home and is located on South Irving Boulevard in Windsor Square, nearly 5 miles west of Los Angeles City Hall. When officers arrived, they apprehended the suspect without incident. The incident comes as crime continues to rise amid the LA District Attorney's soft-on-crime approach to court cases. LA District Attorney George Gascon barred prosecutors from pursuing advanced punishments for gang members. As the country's top prosecutor, Gascon also enacted a series of criminal justice directives since taking office in 2020 that have drawn scorn from opponents and many in law enforcement, such as barring prosecutors from attending parole hearings, prompting zero cash bail, and efforts to end the prosecution of juveniles as adults, even for violent crimes. John, this is right up your alley. I should note that George Gascon was the DA of San Francisco, the Soros-backed DA of San Francisco, who destroyed San Francisco. And then what happens? Spencer, you mentioned the progressive Borg before. Well, then they just move you elsewhere where you get to, like a cockroach, destroy the next place. All of these policies, John, none of this is going to work. And this is kind of a funny story. And no one got hurt, so it's okay. But, like, it's kind of funny, right? Like, lady, it literally, the bad guy's in the house, literally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, San Francisco DA's office is a breeding ground for lunatics. Kamala was San Francisco DA.
Yep.
That's Chesa Bowden, who got recalled. He was his parents, cop killers. Cop killers. They elected this guy DA. But, you know, what strikes me about this is that Getty House, being the official mayor's residence, has an LAPD detail. This is how brazen criminals are in LA. They're not afraid of the Los Angeles Police Department, right? Every large city mayor has a detail at the residence. It's just been standard operating procedure for decades now. They know they're not going to get prosecuted. Burglary is a nonviolent offense. At the best, they may grab something of value. At the absolute worst, they're going to roll before a judge who's going to ROR them, release them on their own recognizance in a couple hours because she's got a mandate to keep the jails clear. If you're a bad guy, why wouldn't you do this? And her point about poverty and crime, sociologists, criminologists, we know that. But you got a lot of rich drug dealers in prison, too. I mean, who are pretty violent. So that's not the only reason. But in this scenario, when your prosecutors won't prosecute, and you and I have spoken about this offline, Dave, then your police don't make arrests because they can't justify spending the overtime because they're going to get hit very hard by the city council commission, right? That's what's happening here. So these bad guys don't care if it's the mayor's residence, if it's a film producer in Beverly Hills or Bel Air or the middle-class family that can't afford to lose anything. They're going to go in and take what they want because there are no repercussions.